In today's crazy world, we're constantly using things we don't need, doing things we don't like, and never really moving forward or getting the results we're hoping for in either ourselves or our animals. Are you ready for a change? Join me, Wendy Patrick, your host on Quantumly Yours, Finnessiam Health's podcast, and become empowered to take control of you and your animals' health and well-being. We're all quantumly connected, so whether you're round the corner or around the world, it doesn't matter, because we can help each other and all work together on our journeys. So come, join me, and together we'll myth bust, share advice, knowledge, truths, and suggestions to help you awaken, grow, and continue your journey to a healthier, happier life. Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Quantumly Yours. I'm your host, Wendy Patrick, and thanking you for joining us today. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are now a long attendee, then thank you for coming back and sticking with us on our journey along with you. I have someone very special today, and you may actually have seen me on this lovely lady's podcast not that long ago. And I just had so much fun with her, and she brings such a really good energy that I just wanted to actually have her come on to Quantumly Yours so that we can find out a little bit more about her, because I answered all her questions last time. So I'm repaying the favor. And I would like to introduce to you Miss Krista Karpowich, who owns Wag Out Loud podcast, and she does a weekly podcast as well as us, and it's also a show to help you be the best advocate for your dog's health and wellness. So is that not like a perfect fit for us? I think so. So, after receiving her certification in canine nutrition and noticing that most dogs are getting sicker and living shorter lives, Krista became obsessed with bringing experts and dog enthusiasts together in committed community to enhance the bond with our dogs, help them live longer, and be as happy and healthy as possible. I just love that. Now, Krista is also a dog brand liaison, partnering with manufacturers of products that she has vetted, knows, likes, and trusts. Sound familiar? I think so. So we love that she connects the makers of her favorite dog products with owners of online and brick and mortar pet retailers. So, yes, you can check out wagoutloud.com as well, where you will see us on Krista when she hosted us. But for now, we are hosting Krista. And Krista, my lovely, lovely friend, welcome to Quantumly Yours.
Thank you, Wendy. I am so happy to be here. And I had so much fun when you were on my show. We could chat forever, geek out about dogs. So I am happy to be here today. And if we can change one dog's life, we've made a difference.
Absolutely. No, completely. And that's why I love having you on, and just had to, because we have that complete common denominator and we're going to be their voice. So you're on that side of the border, I'm on this side of the border, and we're going to meet in the middle at some point, and we're going to do what we can do. So I want to know now, Krista, tell us how you got to what you're doing right now. What got you on this journey for you?
Well, thank you for asking. I think it started probably about 15 years ago. My previous dog, Higgins, was having seizures.
Ah.
And 3 different veterinarians checked him out and couldn't figure out the reason. Well, at the same time, we were looking at getting a second dog, and she was an adult already, but the breeders would not sell her to us unless we promised to feed raw.
Oh.
Okay, I've never fed raw before, but I can do that. I'm feeding her raw. I might as well be feeding Higgins raw as well. Well, guess what? After he was fed a raw diet, he never got another seizure.
Wow.
So light bulb went on. There's something to this nutrition. So fast forward, I've always fed raw, and my current dog, Winston, his whole life, he's been fed raw. And Winston and I were taking a walk. That's when I meditate and have the best ideas ever, when I'm walking my dog. And I just, at that point, said, I need to become certified in canine nutrition. I'm just fascinated by it. I really want to learn it. So that was a year in the making, because I had a JOB at the time. I got certified through the Companion Animal Science Institute there in Canada. And again, this is not me. This is a greater power making all this happen. Oh, I just decided I'm going to start a podcast. And I am the most untechnical person in the world. So
I'm
made
not
it
far behind you.
crazy. So yeah, it was 2 years old this past May. And every week, experts like yourself come on. And it's a very short and sweet 25 to 30-minute episode, perfect time for you to walk your dog or commute to an office. And we're learning how to be the best advocates for our dog's health and wellness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
It is, isn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
it's great because I think even just doing these podcasts and stuff, the people that we're meeting, they're just opening up so many other doors and actually realizing that we're not these strange geeky freaks on our own anymore, but there's lots of us out there.
Mm-hmm.
So putting all of this power together, in a sense, raises this whole collective of our side of things. So we're sharing knowledge, we're gaining knowledge whenever we meet each other
Mm-hmm.
and helping to continue. So how can that be wrong?
It's not, Wendy. And you and I have chatted about this before, that nothing, and that is nothing underlined, bold, is regulated in the pet industry.
Exactly.
So who are we? Are we supposed to believe these gimmicky marketing ploys for our dog's food, for our dog's supplement, for our dog's CBD, for our dog's toys that are made in China?
Mm-hmm.
I can go on and on. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah,
talking about.
totally, totally. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because that really reminded me whenever I was starting to put Dogs of Pride together up here when I moved to Nova Scotia in 2008. So I was looking for healthier options, safer options. And I remember approaching a company who made dog collars. And they made dog collars from hemp and they had them dyed all these different colors. I thought, oh, that's kind of neat, a little bit different, very natural, very neutral, blah, blah, blah. So I got chatting with them and they started to tell me that, oh no, they're all made in a factory in China. I'm like, oh, here we go. And they said, but we can send you pictures of it. I was like, so can I. And they're like, what do you mean? I says, it's called Google. I says, I can send you any picture you want to see to make you happy.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm about. So, yeah, to pull wool over people's eyes for the sake of a buck is not what either you or my direction is. We're definitely the voice for the animals. And I know there's a lot of people out there, the same thing at heart. So the more that we can actually reach out and touch someone, that's an old advert from years ago, back across the pond. But yeah, we have to do this to protect our pets out there and just get heard and be their voice as much as we possibly can.
Well, and so much that applies to them applies to us as well. So I'm learning about myself and my own body,
Mm-hmm.
and what should I be using and not using. It's it's an eye opener, but I think the movement is getting bigger and bigger, that people aren't, veterinarians are amazing.
Yeah.
Contemporary medicine has its place,
Yep.
but I think on a platform like ours, where we can introduce integrative or holistic
Yes.
treatments and remedies. There, there are so many better ways to do things. And,
Absolutely.
before
Absolutely.
all of this, I never knew about titers. I thought, yep, got to vaccinate every year. Oh, did I learn? Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on about all the things that I think the average pet parent might not know. And I'm not slamming anybody, I'm not shaming anybody. We're in this together and it's a learning process, and I'm learning every single day.
Absolutely. Well, I say you should never stop learning. I mean, if we think we know everything, then we can pop off because we're of no use
You're
anymore.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're right, because I mean, a lot of people, they don't know a lot of this stuff because who's telling them? The vets aren't going to educate them on titers because their quick money is in the vaccinations,
Sure.
right?
Hmm.
What I'm even seeing, for because you know what I do with the holistic side of stuff and do the remote testing, and more and more and more, I'm finding animals affected and damaged from over vaccination.
Absolutely. It's proven. There's studies.
Oh yeah, it is. But then to try and educate people about titers, and sadly, a lot of the vet establishments, even out this way, are very against even going that way.
Which is amazing to me because the
Hmm.
pharmaceutical companies that make these vaccines,
Hmm.
they're not saying, oh, you've got to redo these core vaccines every year.
No, they're
They're
not.
not even saying that. So I don't know where the problem is. Is it all the way back into vet school? Are they not taught?
No, actually, I think what it was, because I did a seminar with Dr. Schultz many years ago, who's the head immunologist who created a lot of these vaccines. And he said the problem was that whenever they were first created, that went under AFCA regulations. And because there was no challenge at that time, they had to put the recommendation of them being redone every year. And until they were challenged, and then even after that, it was so hard, as Dr. Schultz said, it was so hard to re educate that system to now say, well, you're okay now to 3 years. You're okay now to 5 years. And actually, it's proven now that a lot of times, and that's why we should really learn to embrace the titers and understand them and demand them as pet owners, pet guardians, whatever you want to call yourself, then the vet industry isn't going to change. They're just going to say, oh, no, no, it's easier just to do this because if it's a low response anyway, you're just going to have to get them done. But even a low response is still a response,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And
So,
over 95% of dogs that have their puppy shots do have the correct amount of antibodies in their system through adulthood.
exactly.
And that is what a titer shows.
Yep.
So why are we filling our dogs full of toxins in
Because
these
we're
vaccines?
brainwashed.
Well, we
It
know
is.
there's a problem with the system, and that's
Absolutely.
why you and I just have to educate pet parents to be their voice, like you said.
Yes.
That
Yes.
we can question things. This is your dog, this is your fur child. You can question. Well, why is that? Why would I need to do that? And if you
I,
don't like the answer that your
yeah,
vet is giving you, you can go to another vet. It's
here, here.
it's that simple.
It is. It is. And exactly. I mean, a lot of people, we're just, and I mean, I'm not slamming anyone either at all because I was of the same thought process, because you get that little postcard drops through the mailbox once a year and goes, oh, Fluffy's ready for their vaccinations. And you go, oh, right. And it's kind of, nobody has ever stopped you in the street and said, no, 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 you don't understand. You don't actually have to follow what that little postcard says. You're not going to die of some sort of awful illness because you didn't get your cat shot done.
Right.
Neither is your cat.
Mm.
But now, with knowing what we know, we also know now that, well, the seizures can also be caused by them. Autoimmune conditions can be caused by them. And this isn't hearsay or anything else. There's proof there to show it, whether people want to admit it or not. And I've seen evidence of it. And when you can clear out those extra heavy metals, you can actually change the whole system. Um, I think the problem with those is that the thimerosal free now that people think that they're going to be safer by getting, they're still really, really overloaded with aluminum. Thimerosal is just your fancy word for mercury. But it's sad because there's not enough people talking openly about it
Mhm.
because they're afraid of offending someone, rubbing someone up the wrong way, or pissing their vet off. Let's face it. But
Well,
there has to be more acknowledgement and education even coming into the vet industry. And they're
and
not getting
why are
enough
they giving
time.
combo shots? That blows my mind.
Oh,
If you're even going to vaccinate, at least do them separately and put time in between
right.
each to see how the body. And I'm not saying that you should. I am not a proponent of over vaccinating. But if you're going to do it,
Do
then
it safely.
you can request and require that they are given one at a time over time and not this combo shot all at once with all the core vaccines. Can you imagine what is happening to their bodies when you're doing that?
It was the same as children that are being born today, that they
Yes.
get in their first 24 hours of life. And
Yeah.
if there's going to be a reaction or an adverse reaction to anything, you don't know which one it's going to be if it's
That's
such a
right.
short space of time between them. And that's not fair. And that doesn't help any industry. It doesn't help the pet parents. It doesn't help the vets. It doesn't help the vaccine manufacturers when you think about it, because then nobody can actually pinpoint it and make it better.
Right.
And that's what raises that awful red flag to me. Then it's like, are they caring? Do they want to make it better? Or is it all follow the money kind of deal? And sorry, that's where I always end up going.
Yeah.
So until we get them answering to what's happening or changing their views or coming up to speed with it and educating and getting educated and accepting that rather than still being taught the same things in the schools that they were taught 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Now, certainly things are changing, but all of this has to have hand in hand. But until all that happens, and until it is a bright, flashy world with rainbows and unicorns floating around, I'm going to be their voice.
You have to be. Mhm. That's right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about Winston. I know you've a lovely little man.
Oh, Winston. He's laying right here. Should I bring him on?
Absolutely. Unfortunately,
Oh,
the listeners on the RSS feeds won't be able to see him, but all our viewers will be able to get a
yes.
lovely little eye file of this lovely little old man. Look at
Oh,
him.
Say hi,
Hi,
Winston.
Winston. Oh, he's adorable.
Oh, he's wonderful. So he's a 12-year-old Norwich terrier.
Yeah, terrorist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually had him created because
created.
when Higgins passed at age 16, I just love this breed. So and it's a popular breed and hard to find. So when I looked for a rescue Norwich, there were none to be found in the whole United States.
Oh wow.
I was devastated. Um, so my mother had a female Norwich, and she said, "How about you pay the stud fee and we'll breed Tessa and you get pick of the litter?" So that's what happened. And I got pick of the litter for four puppies, and Winston was my man.
Oh
That was
wow.
how it happened. Yeah. So,
There we go. Wow.
but everybody
Wow.
looks to me like, well, of all the people, your dog better be super healthy and live to 100 years old because supposedly you know how to keep them
Supposedly.
healthy.
Yeah, and you know what's funny you say that because my Elizabeth has an ear issue that's been going on for way too long. I have taken her to the vets quite a few times. They have drained me dry and still not done what I asked them to do and not found a solution for her. So I'm saving up to take her again. But it's like she's got swimmer's ear. The inside of her ear is always wet. I also have a horse who had heaves. He has got no grinding surface on his teeth, so I have to make him soup. My little um, Dimitri has got H. pylori, and I have a cat with sneezes, and my only one who is the absolute gem is a little brown tabby cat of mine, and he's the Finnessiam poster boy because he's going through his lives and he comes in with holes and wounds and everything, which he gets the Finnessiam colloidal silver smart oil applied onto him, and he's good to go within a week.
Hmm.
um yeah, but I think sometimes because of what we do as well and what we know, we'll get a challenge or two because we can maybe help or learn more. Maybe it's another learning thing, right? Like,
It
you've got
is.
more to
They are there
learn,
to
so
teach
here,
us.
plump, here's another
That's
animal.
right.
Fix it.
But
So,
you're so right. And I thought I was doing everything right before. And when Winston was younger, he has a very sexy European collar, and that's how I walk my dog, with the collar. Well, then he gets collapsed trachea, which
oh
I didn't
yeah,
even know could happen because he was a puller. Okay, bad dog mom, or okay, learning experience.
yeah.
So now he has a
Sadly,
harness that doesn't get
yep,
anywhere near his throat, and he's fine.
yep,
So it's learning, and that's what they are here to teach us. If we just are open to listening,
yes,
and there are answers, and that's one of the issues I have with conventional veterinary medicine, is a lot of times it just puts the band-aid on, a symptom. Let's push pills or
yep,
injections or medications. And I like the integrative and holistic approach, where let's look at the whole animal and
yes,
see, what is this symptom from? What's going on in their body?
yep,
And let's tackle that.
yep,
So I'd rather
exactly.
go that route if I can.
Yeah, and that's what we do here, and that's why we gel, I think, Krista, because yeah, that's our bag is like, no, no pill for an ill, no band-aid. We're
Yes.
sick and tired of being sick and tired. It was my own health journey that got me out of that
Mm-hmm.
vicious circle. So that's where I learned to develop more skills and learn more and find out, okay, how can I do this for the animals?
Right.
Because all the and it's sad. What really saddens me is all of these people with the biggest hearts and the biggest best intentions in the world. And I was going to go there if I'd had my chemistry, physics, biology scores high enough from school, and I would have gone straight into the vet field.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight now, I realize that I would have been doing the animals a disservice by that to some degree. I mean, certainly I would have helped a lot more in different ways, but because now I have been more open to learning alternative methods, then I have actually more scope and more ways to be able to help because I can understand how things happen and how
Mm-hmm.
things work, and actually using the energy work to test remotely as well and identify and actually ask the animal's being and system, as opposed to, oh, here's a symptom. What part of the book, what chapter does that fit under? Oh, what's the heading in that? Oh, that's such and such a disease. Oh, look, that's Cushing's. Oh, look, that's pancreatitis. Underlying thing, extra inflammation. Get the inflammation down first. You're going to reduce a lot of these issues. Labels are only given to diseases so they can create more drugs to treat them.
That is a good point. Um, I think one of the things that we don't realize, and I didn't before doing all this, is the toxic world that we live in,
Hmm.
and the toxic load that our bodies and our dogs' bodies are expected to take all of this in, and you just can't. And that's where the disease, the inflammation, the disease comes into play, not just from what we're eating,
Mm-hmm.
but you you did an amazing job on the show. It's what all the chemicals that we're putting in with the shampoos and the cosmetics. And oh my gosh, we can talk about glyphosate for days,
Yeah.
so that dogs are eating it, they're walking on it. This is the pesticide, this is
Hmm.
Roundup
Hmm.
that is sprayed on 70% of our crops here in
Hmm.
the United States.
Yep. And here.
Um, so it's just the plugins, the
Right.
deodorizers and the chemicals in our carpets and our laundry, and I can go on and on. What body can take all those toxins in and not be able to normally flush it out? And that is,
Can't.
the vaccines were that we were just talking about. It's toxic chemicals. And that's what I'm learning about. And how do we find the right products like yours that are made with love,
Mhm.
and you have the chemistry background, you understand what these carcinogens are doing, and why do we need something to smell good that we're going to put on our dogs? They don't care.
That's right.
Let's
That's right.
just put another preservative or additive, or it's overwhelming,
Hmm.
and it's really sad.
Yeah. And I mean, when you think as well, like our dogs, the only thing that they're born with using is smell and taste.
Mhm.
So their olfactory senses are hugely heightened compared to ours. So you put that smelly shampoo on them, which, I was there as well as a dog groomer, as a retired dog groomer. I am guilty as well with what smells nice, let's put it on the dog. Now, there are certain scents that are incredibly, incredibly strong and not exactly the cleanest sources.
Right.
We have ones now that we're not having a reaction with the scents because the scents are being tested so much by the owner of the line that we use, which is Pure Paws, that we don't have the reactions that we saw in other lines or other brands or know of, or will even have ourselves when we smell them out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And you're asking Fluffy to have that on him for, well, until it wears off. And it's 10 times stronger around their little schnoz than it is to ours. So, yeah, you're asking them to deal with that. And if you're wondering why I'm sitting at a funny angle for those watching, it's because Dimitri's down by my feet getting his chin scratched.
Oh.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's not even so much all those as well. A lot of things that we forget about too is we're living in, well, especially in Canada this summer, humidity huge. Um, and these brand new homes that are so airtight,
Mm,
right? There's no airflow going through them. And what you're ending up with a lot of humidity, no airflow, and basements is mold.
yeah.
Mold toxicity is a huge thing that nobody thinks of. If you
Mm,
have mold in your system, you will actually prevent the release of a lot of other things, including pesticides and parasites. Mold will block that in the cell. So, yeah, that and the heavy metals, the breathing in of stuff, like you say, all of these toxins and stuff from the pesticides and sprays and things like that. Yeah.
there are
Oh, yeah.
studies that show that inside our homes, there's
Mhm.
more pollutants inside our homes than outside in your biggest
Uh,
city.
I could believe it.
It's just,
I could believe it. And then we add in our smelly candles and like
mm,
you say, the plug-ins or the burners or the essential oils. And
yep.
yeah, I mean, there's lots of these big essential oil companies. I mean, certain things are really good, but whenever you have like shelves of 50 or 60 essential oils on that shelf above where the dog sleeps, and they don't all not smell even though they're closed.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's sad. I mean, we really need a good shake up and a good wake up and realize. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what we've been looking at for them, we've now adapted to ourselves and
Yes.
realize that, maybe our own nutrition's a little bit rubbish. maybe our own healthcare regime isn't the best. Maybe our own exercise routine needs reworked.
Hmm.
uh,
It's funny we were talking
uh,
about fragrance and shampoos. If your dog is fed a healthy diet, I'm talking fresh food diet, fresh or raw, fresh cooked, raw, your dog should not smell.
that's right. A
There is no
healthy,
such
vital animal
thing.
doesn't smell. That's right.
There's no such thing as doggy smell or doggy breath if we take care of their health, their teeth, and
Ooh.
what we feed them. So, again, I'm not shaming and I'm not spouting out, look what I know. This is stuff that I've learned. I was the typical pet parent before I started talking to all these experts.
Absolutely. Yep,
And it's shocking what we don't know.
it is. We don't know what we don't know because we haven't learned it yet.
That's right. But when you do, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Really? I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Okay, let's fix this.
Right.
And there are so many other ways to do things. You do not have to put chemicals on your dog to treat for ticks and fleas. You just don't.
Correct. Correct.
You don't have to over vaccinate. You don't have to vaccinate every year. You can do titers. You do not have to give medications for worming when you don't know that your dog has worms.
Correct. Big, big money grab. I've tested that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Huge.
So, I mean, we could go on and on
We could.
about other ways to keep your dog healthy. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. But when we know better, we do better. And it's just instead of the next time, I think from this, what I'm taking for our people listening and watching, Krista, is instead of doing the same thing that you've done over and over and over and over again, stop. Stop just for a second. Instead of grabbing your normal bag of dog food off the shelf, turn it around. Read the ingredients. If you're seeing meal byproducts, glutens, corns, put it back. Put it back and start researching some nutrition. Just start there. You don't have to switch to raw overnight.
Nope.
You don't have to switch to home cooked overnight. And you shouldn't either, because your dog's system will tell you that that was too fast in a way
Yes.
that we don't want to go into. But yes. But just stop. Stop doing everything the same old way, because the same old way isn't working if you've got a stinky dog, an itchy dog, a dog with arthritis, a dog that can't get up, that their mobility is failing. And there's certain
GI
things that you
issues.
can do to help,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our smart oil is great for pain and inflammation. Raw feeding is really good for a healthier digestive tract. Getting a test, whether it's through your vets or whether you come and do an appointment with us at Finnessiam, then we can find out, is there a parasite load? Is there a toxic load? Is there mold? Is there heavy metals? And we can help clean that out to reestablish that healthy, vital animal that doesn't smell, that doesn't get infestations, that doesn't get fleas all year round, and is happier to be around and happier in its own skin. And that's all we want. So I think as we wrap that up, Krista, have you any parting words of wisdom for our viewers and listeners?
Wendy, I think you just said it best is to stop, reassess, and the information's out there. And that's one of the reasons that I started the podcast, because I was overwhelmed by Dr. Google. You've got so many opinions on different things that it is overwhelming. And I know to a lot of people that might be feeding a processed diet, they're saying, well, it fits within my budget and it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff is scary. I don't know how to come up with a recipe, or I don't know how much to feed. Are they getting all the nutrients they need? I just want to encourage people to look at, there's so many different resources. I have them on my page. They're free. wagoutloud.com. Check out the resources. You can check out the podcast episodes. We've got over 120 episodes released so far. And again, they're short and sweet with experts that will tell you that it doesn't have to be overwhelming, that it can be baby steps. Just adding a little something to their dry food right now would make the world of difference inexpensively. That's a whole nother show, how you can feed fresh food on a budget. But I just encourage people to ask more questions and know that there are better ways to enhance your dog's health and wellness.
Absolutely. No, great, Krista. And yeah, with that, folks, as well, I mean, certainly, I think podcasts are definitely the way of the future with over 2.5 million of them out there now. You know that you found two that you can actually trust for good advice on, and that would be ourselves, Quantumly Yours, and definitely Krista's on Wag Out Loud. So I just want to thank Krista for being with us today. And before we go, just let everybody know again where they can find you, Krista.
Thanks, Wendie. Everything is on the main site, wagoutloud.com.
Wonderful. And also, as well, for listeners and stuff there too, you can go to wagoutloud.com and actually buy some Finnessiam products.
With a
Krista,
discount.
with a discount. Exactly. And I think, what's our code? I think it's WOL15, if I can't, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's
probably
exactly what it is.
About right.
Yeah. WOL15. Yeah. And I'm sure we have it in our links on previous podcasts and on the podcast that we did with Krista earlier on, that's on our website under our media page on Dogs of Pride. So you can always find us. And if you are having trouble with a recipe or something like that, as Krista said, contact herself, contact myself. I feed raw, I've fed kibble, I fed a mixture, and look at different things to help break down ingredients, because either one of us are definitely available to help you guys out and help you make better decisions for your pet. So, Krista, it's been a blast again. I know we're probably going to do this again.
Okay.
Just a good old chin wag. I mean, yeah, absolutely. So it's felt more like a nice wee chat around the coffee table and just bandying things around today, which has been really, really nice. So it's been a pleasure having you. And I hope everyone else out there has enjoyed this today as well. And if so, like, subscribe, click, share, tell all your friends about ourselves and Krista at Wag Out Loud, and come and join us again on Quantumly Years. And we hope to see you soon. In the meantime, stay possum.
Thanks, Wendie.
Thank you.
All information, products, and topics discussed in the show are simply the host and guest's personal opinions and are for informational purposes only. None claim to offer a diagnosis, treatment, or cure. All listeners and viewers are encouraged to do their own research and consult with their own healthcare providers before changing or adapting any new protocols. Finnessiam Holistic Health, nor any of its entities, assume any responsibility or liability for any consequence relating directly or indirectly from the information contained within the podcast.